Okay, I've fussed with this way longer than I needed to find out stuff. So, to recap, I've noticed a couple other videos this said 50%. I've since figured out that between that and GPU Z, this is definitely not reporting correctly because all the texture shaders are pegged on the 1070 non-TI, and this is reporting at like somewhere between 50 and 60%, which the closest thing it matches is the TDP percentage when it's under load. When it's not under load, this I have no clue what it's following because it doesn't even match the TDP reading. I've read online somewhere that there's a way to get GOG to do an overlay. Basically, you go into settings under general, you turn this on for like beta stuff. You go down to game features, you make sure overlay is turned on, and then you can, I guess, press Control Shift Tab to open up an FPS thing. It doesn't work. The other option is to use GeForce Experience that likes to install drivers that completely busticate iRay and cause anything that uses OpenGL, Blender, Daz, Hexagon, etc., to run at 138 megahertz comatose mode for the GPU, and will only crank up the GPU to do something mode for DirectX. So obviously I'm running the creator drivers without GeForce Explode or Perform Exterminate, whatever the E stands for. So yeah, that's not an option. The other option is to go into Steam and add the game, but it's not in the Steam list because this is obviously through GOG. And at this point, I think I'm just going to load an autosave from somewhere back here where I was at the... I was trying to figure out what was going on between the two things, and I was there for a couple of hours in game. About 40 minutes actual time. I'm going back to this. Because I found an FPS counter, but it has a problem. Okay, a couple of problems, but we'll get to that. So we're at 7th Hell. There's lots of people here dancing. I went ahead and set texture quality back to high, which is why the game is now using around 5 gigs instead of 4 point something. But, actually, let's just resume. Alt-Tab. So we can see that. And type down GPU Z because we want to see the other thing. And it blacks out because it's asking if I really want to use that program for the umpteenth millionth time. There's an option to set this to always be on top, but it doesn't actually work with this game. Go over to sensors. So we see the GPU load is at 100% here. TDP is hovering around 60%. This says the GPU is at 60% load here. So, but back here, I don't know what that percentage was, but it's not, this was at 60% this entire time here. If I go into the menu again, and we'll tab back out of that. Yeah, TDP 50%. This says your load is 14%. The actual Shader load is hovering around 64%. So yeah, I have no idea what Windows is looking at here for this. None whatsoever. Yeah. So anyway. So we see that. Confusions of where the thing is. I hit always on top. That's going to wipe out the history for some reason. I don't know. Windows 10. So if I go into the game and I open that prompt thing, I noticed that when I hit debug, it opens a bunch of windows. There's more behind this thing. But I have an FPS counter there. Finally. But the problem with this is it only appears when you open the prompt thing. And then you have a mouse here instead of being able to move around. So I can't run around the city and look at what the FPS is doing, which is why I decided the nightclub was the place to be. Get a couple of frames here to see how this is doing. So yeah, this is already pretty sad at like 46. When I first discovered this back at the apartment, static room, nothing happening. It was in the 70s. Now, there was a video from eons ago. I don't even remember what graphics card it was. Maybe it was the 2060 KO. GN said that this thing could run high textures at like not quite 60 FPS, but it was definitely more than 30. So what I'm gonna do is I have to close that. In order to hit escape, go into settings. Now I got the thing in the way, so I can't quite see everything. But yeah, it was either high or ultra or something like that. But I'm just going to turn all the shadows up to like really nice quality. I think it was ambient occlusion was the other one. Clicking that by braille. Alright. So with that, I'm not going to run the benchmark. I'm going to open this. Not bad, I guess. Not bad. I get into firefights, it's probably going to drop to like 10 FPS or something. The other thing too is a lot of the you can see the people kind of jump in the middle of their dance moves when it's like skipping frames or something. But OBS is only capturing 30 frames per second, so it doesn't get all of them. So the next question is, if I go down on the dance floor and then go into the other view, does it give me the option to... See, I have to exit that in order to move. And look over my character's shoulder at all the people dancing in the room. Oh yeah, that's... But according to Windows, the GPU is only around 50% used. Glorious console resolution. Or F frames. Alright. I was kind of half thinking, you know, if the GPU is only about 50% used, you know, how much quality of life features can I enable before it's pegged at 100%, but as we see here, it's been pegged at 100%. It's just Windows is reporting something completely different. So I have no idea. Probably saw my character like jump around there a little bit. And again, I don't think that is jumping between different like dance animations. I think that's literally the 3D mesh isn't keeping up with the animation, and it's skipping from where it was to where it should be. Yeah, GTX 1070 non-Ti has its limits. And this is just basically camera sitting still in a room full of people. This isn't running around doing combat or anything. Oh. I don't know. You know, allegedly, exit out of that. Control Shift Tab. Right? Well, how about the other Control Shift Tab? Right Control Left Shift Tab? Yeah, I'm just not seeing a GOG overlay there. So yeah, and it's not so much the 73 or 77 frame per second average. It's when the stuff jumps from one place to another suddenly because it's not keeping up with where things should be in the scene, or render, or whatever you want to call this. That's the part that is really annoying when you're in combat, because you think you're shooting at someone when they've already moved somewhere else, and the GPU just hasn't caught up because it's decided to stutter. I don't know. But anyway, it ain't 50% usage. Not by a long shot. Not at less than 60 FPS on a 60 Hertz monitor. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. That was basically the gist of what I wanted to record here. Do I turn on more stuff? Do I sit here for a couple of hours bouncing between the settings menu and having these three things open static, but I can't walk around the room kind of thing with the FPS window open? I don't know. Kind of tempted to just cut it here because there isn't much else to show other than recording this for some time to see what the numbers are doing. The last time I was at the dance club, I wasn't sure what was reading right. This or GPU load over here on GPU Z. I think GPU Z is reading right. As far as the shader workload here. I think Windows is completely off in its own universe, disconnected from reality or something. There isn't another 40-something% of GPU to throw texture shading at. It's that's the other thing. Hey, that might be the draw call thread. It might be one of these other ones, but none of these cores are pegged out, so it's not the CPU holding back the graphics card either. Oh, 3950X is doing perfectly fine. It's just the 1070 is 2016? 8 years ago? Yeah. And unfortunately, NVIDIA has gone all RTX, so roster performance has kind of taken the back seat. So everything in like the $300 range is just about the same performance or less with less RAM. Yeah. First the crypto miners, and now it's AI tensor core stuff, and NVIDIA just doesn't really care about gaming graphics performance, I guess, for older games. Alright. Let's flip that back to the way I had it. I don't know. What's more entertaining? Watching an FPS counter, or a millisecond per frame counter, or watching shaders compile? Looking at my desk and thinking about something for possibly isolating the microphone from the speakers, but that isn't going to change anything for the in-game audio recording. Just maybe possibly reduce the echo a little bit. There may be a way with one of the older compressor gates that have like the side channel input, where you have audio going into it from one source, but the compressor gate is controlled by another signal, to have the audio from the speakers wired into the control of the compressor gate to control maybe possible, I don't know. Probably like a $10,000 DBX rack mount unit that you plug your audio out into and your microphone pass through into, and it just kind of does all that stuff automatically. Like, I think there's like a Creative Audio Labs thing that also does that, but you kind of need a Creative Labs sound card for it to work. Kind of like the Steam FPS thing will only work if you've purchased the game via Steam instead of GOG. Alright. I'm gonna call it there. Nothing against the music or anything, it's just, like, how long do I sit here watching an FPS counter to get an idea of where it's sucking versus sucking worse? And I'm not even gonna save this. It's gonna go right back to when I got to the apartment. I was gonna tell the character go to bed. There was a couple of gigs out in the Badlands I was gonna do. There was 2 other gigs in Haywood I was gonna do for the following day, and so on. I just wanted to like piece everything together that I found for the past couple of days regarding this is not the GPU load. This isn't the GPU load. There's no GPU left to add like quality of life stuff to. Because yeah, it was 99%. That's 100%. That's pegged. So yeah. With that, till later.